So one day I was on my way back from my cousin's house. I had stayed overnight there, and it was early morning when I started to come back to my house, and I had to go through the half city to get here. And on my way to my house, I had the realization hit me. The realization was that I was stuck in the past, but I wasn't stuck in the past the way you think I was. I wasn't stuck in the past thinking about all the bad experiences or shameful experiences that I had experienced or all the negative emotions I felt. Rather, the contrary. I was trying to seek the positive experiences that I had experienced when I first started my self improvement journey about 3 years ago. And I was trying to relieve that exuberance, that positive high that I was feeling when I first started everything off. And realizing that, I also had noticed that I was stuck because of it. And it was this kind of mental loop where I was feeling stuck now, and the way I saw an out of this was for me to kind of do the same thing that I used to do before. But I quickly realized that the circumstances back there were different. I was a different person back then. The context of what I was doing and why I was doing everything was different. And that's why what worked back then isn't gonna work for me now or for me in the future. And this realization helped me to kind of slowly let go of that, because I was too attached to my previous experiences in this self-improvement thing, where I had genuinely felt like I was doing progress. I was making progress, and I was, because I could see it. I could notice that life around me has gotten better. It has gotten more vibrant, I should say, mentally, emotionally, physically as well around me. And it made me very grateful. But also, being too emotionally attached to those previous experiences made me stuck in the present moment, where I would be in a rut. Let's say I would feel stuck. I couldn't find a way through how I'm supposed to navigate a certain difficult situation in my life that I'm experiencing in the current moment, let's say. And my answer would be, why don't you do the same thing that you were doing before? But the conclusion I came to that idea now is what I told you in the beginning, where I was stuck in the past, essentially. And I also analyzed what that meant and what it equated to. And being emotionally attached to your past, previous positive experiences and trying to relieve them over and over again is no different than a depressed person relieving their past negative experiences. In both circumstances, you're stuck in the past. And when you are stuck in the past, you do not notice what's in the present. You're unable to deal with the present moment as you should. In subsequence, you won't be able to create that ideal future that you want for yourself. And I realized that very recently, because I had realized that I was stuck in the past. I was too emotionally attached to my previous positive experiences, and I was trying to constantly relieve them so that I can feel like I was doing the same exact progress that I was doing back then, which was very rapid. But to go from 0 to 1 is easier than going from 1 to 10. And I realized that I'm not at 0 anymore. And I'm not at 1 anymore either. I'm at like 2, 3, or 4. And so I need to get to 10 and not 1. But in my mind, I was still in 0. And so in this mind trap, essentially, I kept myself stuck. And with that realization came letting go. With that realization came a sense of peace, where, okay, whatever happened in the past, good or bad, has happened. Trying to avoid them or relive them is a futile attempt, simply because they're gone, they're in the past. I can only be grateful towards those experiences, good and bad, learn from them, and attend to the present moment, right here, what's happening now. But it was difficult to let go. It was, because when you're so emotionally attached to a certain thing and you feel and you think that it's the right thing to be doing, it's difficult to let go of that. But I slowly did, and still am, to a certain degree, admittedly. And that realization as well has made me kind of move on from the person that I was before. Because the self-image thing that I spoke about in previous videos, I kept my self-image stuck to a certain period of my life where I had experienced rapid growth and rapid progress in my personal life and other areas of my life as well. But again, the circumstances were different, the context was different, and what got me here won't get me where I want to be now. I know that I'm not the same person anymore. I don't think about the things the same anymore that I used to before. I had grown a little bit, as much as I have. And I am honest enough to myself to realize that, you know what? It doesn't matter what I did back then. I cannot live my life in the knowledge that, a couple years back, 3 or 4 years ago, I really was really good. Why not be good now? Why boast about how you were back then when you can create even better environment and better progress now? And that just kind of clicked in me. It's like, okay, whatever was, but, well, it doesn't matter what I did now. I have to attend to this present moment, the thing I actually have now, right? The current time that I'm using every day, every second of my life. And when it clicked, I started doing things differently. I still do the same good habits that I used to do, but now I am definitely more free in what I want to do and how I want to enjoy stuff. Back then, I used to really confine myself to a certain framework, let's say. And even though that framework worked, it genuinely did, right? Because it gave me huge progress. The framework that I used to work back then in isn't suitable for me now, okay? I'm not 19 anymore, I'm not 20 anymore, okay? I'm older now, and suitably more mature than I was back then to realize that some things have to change, and to be stuck in that past positivity is going to keep me stuck in the present, because I'll try to constantly relive the same experiences I had back then. It's not a good way to live. Okay, you can always look back at those positive experiences and be grateful for them, but trying to relieve them will just keep you doing the same mistakes that you did back then, doing the same bad stuff that you did back then as well, right? Because your past experiences, no matter how much you believe them to have been wholly positive, were not necessarily the most positive or wholly positive as well. Because there were some bad habits there, there were some big mistakes that you did back then. And if you try to constantly relive that, well, you're just going to repeat it anyway. If you try to. So you have to let go. And letting go is not easy. It's nowhere near as easy as people say it is. It's like, oh, you just forget about it and let go. It's not easy. It takes a lot of emotional work sometimes to let go of something. So for something to truly be left behind. It takes time. People think it's a one and done thing. It's really not. It takes time. It takes effort as well. And it takes action. Different action from what you did back then. You have to do different things now, because you're not the same person back then. You're a different person now. And what you're gonna do now is the thing that matters the most. Not what you did back then. Not how much you weightlifted back in the day. Not how much you used to meditate back then. Not how much you used to write back in the day. No matter how athletic you were back in the day, none of that matters. Because they're past. Sure, they were good, but what are you doing now in the present moment? Ask yourself that question. I know it's difficult, okay? I've experienced that myself. I know it is difficult, but it's something that's mandatory, absolutely necessary in order for you to truly grow, in order for you to truly make progress, even better progress that you were making back then. You have to let go of the past. Because you can't be sitting and ruminating about how good were times back in the day or how bad were times back in the day. They're past. Do your emotional work, okay? Show gratitude in spite of the fact if it was good or bad. And then slowly but surely, through time, let them go. Leave that behind. Because past is over. And all you have is today. It's difficult. It's not easy. It takes a lot of emotional and mental work. And sometimes physical work as well. But it's necessary. And it's part of life. Life is constantly ever changing. Life is growing day by day. And you're a human and you're part of life, which means you have to go through the same exact steps just as nature goes through and just as life goes through as well. It's unavoidable. If you don't, you'll just be stuck where you are or stuck where you want to be and not get to where you want to be. This realization helped me a lot to navigate the present moment, especially this past period, which wasn't necessarily the easiest. But in spite of the headaches, in spite of the challenges that I had to overcome, I found gratitude and peace in spite of that, because that one shift in mindset really helped me to approach the current challenges differently. To not use the past medicine for the current illness. It just doesn't work. because the medicine I used back then was for a different illness or different, you know, problem, essentially, right? You cannot use the same tools for different problems. Different problems, you need different tools. And I was using the same tools everywhere. And I realized that it's not the way to go. And realizing that helped me to actually grow afterwards. Hopefully, my realization will help you as well to realize your own faults in your thinking so that you become aware of the mental traps that you all put yourself in every day. And hopefully to give you a guide to get out of that mental trap and genuinely make positive progress. Thank you for watching. I know I haven't posted in a long time, but I'm back. And I got more time on my hands now, so I'm just gonna keep uploading more videos like this because I've had more ideas that I want to implement and to show as well, you know, and most importantly to enjoy this process, because it's not something that I thought I would enjoy, but I really do enjoy this, like recording and stuff and sharing my experiences and my realizations in hopes that it'll help you as well. If it doesn't, that's totally fine, because we are individuals and we live different lives. But, you know, whatever it is, you know, hopefully my information, my experiences, my knowledge is helpful to you in any way. And because of that, at least you'll live your life at least 0.01% better after watching my videos. I genuinely hope so. If you wanna have one-on-one consultations with me, if you wanna have heart talk with me and share some things with me, and if you want my advice and tips as to how to get through difficult moments in life, there's a link down in the description that you can click. You can order my service and we can get on to it, essentially. For now, I'll see you later.